Hey, it's Tim.
And it's Amy from GoWithLess. We're so glad you're here with us today for a really fun video. In today's video, we're sharing 30 items that we have bought and brought back into our nomadic life. The list is going to go quickly, so we hope you'll listen to the whole thing.
Every Wednesday here on our channel, we come out with a new video, typically talking about our early retirement or our nomadic lifestyle. In 2015, we left our careers in our late 40s and retired early. And in January of 2020, we sold our home and became full-time nomads.
We hope you'll give our video a thumbs up, subscribe over here, and we are piggybacking on a video we did last week. That video was all about conscious consumption. So it's kind of weird that we would talk about 30 things that we've purchased as nomads. Well, none of these items were brought into our lives without a lot of thoughtful consideration.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that we were thoughtful consumers. That's like Amy mentioned, it's a large part of how we were able to retire early is thinking about our spending. So the thing we've noticed with our nomadic lifestyle is it's even more present. This conscious consumption is even more present because we have limited space. Our intention was to only have a backpack and a suitcase, and that's what we had to fit all of our stuff into. We expanded because now we're traveling around America and we have a car, so we have 4 tubs that are pretty much all our stuff has to fit into. But everything that we purchase has to fit into the context of, is this something we want to take to the next stop? Is this something that's going to fit in our car? Is this something we're going to have with us for the longer term? And this is just something that we do sort of naturally. But again, being nomadic has helped us with even being more conscious about our consumption.
The killer thing is that we gave away almost every one of these items back in 2019 as we were on our path to become nomads. So either we have this item sitting in our storage unit or we have given it away for free. So the fact that we had to pay sometimes list price, usually list price for this, and we know that we're going to have to get rid of it again when we go internationally is kind of crazy.
Yeah, say lovey.
Yeah.
It's been everything that we've added back. I'm going to say, at least I justify it in my mind, is this is something that's going to serve us well for X amount of months or X amount of time, and then it just goes away, and that's that.
That's right. And so one thing we also want to make sure is that this is not consumables. This is not like toiletries and olive oil and spices and cleaning supplies. We have paper supplies. We have all of these things we bring with us. We're not talking about that. We're talking about hard goods that are going to hopefully be the same condition when we are done with them and are going to have to give them away all over again.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just see. I think that covers everything. And by the way, we're in the United States now for 20 months. It wasn't supposed to be this way, but 20 months it is. Okay. So I'm going to start talking about the kitchen. We have 9 items from our kitchen because we cook a lot in our kitchen. We do a lot of food dining out, but we cook most of our meals at home. So let's go.
So we're going to get going here, and I'm going to start with, and before we get going talking about these, you might think a lot of this stuff like a homeowner, if you're in somebody's home and you're doing a pet sit, they might have these things, or if you're at an Airbnb, they might have these things. What we found over time is that either they're not like we want, or they don't actually own them. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a salad spinner. This is something we recently added back to our life. This was about $10 and just bought it in the past couple of weeks. We eat a lot of lettuce and we buy whole heads of lettuce, and so processing those, what I was having to have to do is dry them with paper towels, and that was awful for the environment. So salad spinner, number 1.
Number 2 is a big beaker, a liter. I bought this at IKEA, and I stick 1 tea bag in this guy, and it makes 3 full cups of tea. So 1 tea bag for 3 cups of tea. If I use the same tea bag for the second and third, it would be weak. Not with this.
Fantastic thing we have there. Also, Tupperware, or this is actually Ziploc plastic storage containers. We've added these back to our life as well. These are just great. We have lots of leftovers. We cook meals a lot at home, and so these are great. Buying glass versions of this wouldn't have fit into our life, so that's why we have the plasticware.
I think we actually have 12 of them, and there have been moments when all of them are in use. So we know that we really needed those. We got those our very first month in New Orleans over a year ago. Measuring tools. You would think that everywhere you go would have measuring tools. You would be wrong. So here we go, measuring cups, measuring spoons.
Actually, we bought this since we've been here in Maryland. This is an immersion blender.
Watch out with that.
So this was about $20 at Lidl. Again, we like soups, and so we've been cooking more and more and more. These immersion blenders are just handy to have for a lot of purposes. Again, this is something we haven't found in a lot of homes, but something that we wanted to add back, and we've used it, I think, twice since we've gotten it. So it's new, so we're working on it.
Yeah. If you don't have one of those immersion blenders, those are a very cheap appliance. We think they are very much worth it. Okay, another cheap appliance, and this is a kitchen scale. It's very glary. This is probably the only thing we're talking about in the kitchen section that's going to make it into our luggage. But this is really nice if you're maybe tracking because you're following a weight loss program, measuring and weighing your food. And also if we're international with all kinds of different measurements, this you could do grams or ounces.
What we see is that cookbooks that are international cookbooks they cook with weight versus like a cup or whatever. And so that's great to actually have those measurements. This is something else that's simple that we've added back to our life. We pick up lots of hot stuff, and so this is an amazing addition to have. Again, something we just haven't found in all the homes is our tongs, and so we added these tongs back.
Silicone tongs. Okay, now this is not one of the things I brought in. This is one of, the glare is so bad. This is from the library. It is a Skinny Taste cookbook. This is one of my favorite cookbook series because every single thing, I've made at least 50 things from her cookbooks, and every one of them is delicious. But we bought 4 cookbooks at a Goodwill back in, I think it was in Washington State, back in like August. All of them were terrible cookbooks, and they are gone. So once they didn't serve their purpose anymore, off they went. But we did buy cookbooks.
Here's something we've also found is that the libraries, we've been looking for this particular person, her cookbooks across the country as we go from library to library to library. We finally found some of them here in Maryland.
Took a year.
Whereas we didn't find them in Texas, we didn't find them in California. They're here in Maryland.
Took a year.
The last thing that we're going to talk about are cutting boards, and so I added this back when we were in Tennessee, I think.
I think it's Asheville.
So we added this particular. This
Last summer.
This was $1. It took me a lot of time to consider buying this from Walmart, and then these cutting boards I just bought this week. This was $6 for these 3 cutting boards, and you might wonder, why in the world do you need 4 cutting boards when you're nomadic?
That's a good question.
And so we obviously like to cook, and what we found is that we with one cutting board, only one of us can be in the kitchen at a given time processing things that need to be processed. So this allows us to be working on multiple things or both be working at the same time in the kitchen. So again, thrilled to have these back.
I'm going to talk about this for a minute because this is a really big one, actually. Okay, number one, they're small. So small cutting boards. We're only 2 people. I'm not cooking meals for 12 people. So cutting a lemon, cutting herbs, cutting, I don't know, like a zucchini up, a pepper. This is perfect. An apple. Also, maybe we have a banana on one cutting board and an onion on another cutting board. So not only can we both be using one cutting board each, but some can be in the dishwasher and one can be doing like savory items, one can be doing sweet items. So say we're making a soup and we have garlic and onion and veggies and all that. Well, both of us are going to need a cutting board. And then maybe we put those cutting boards in the dishwasher and now we're making breakfast and we want bananas and now we don't have a cutting board. So what we have found, most people have cutting boards, but they're ginormous. So the small one is great. And we're okay with the ginormous, but sometimes they're so ginormous that they're awkward to wash, or they're glass. Cutting boards are a very funny thing to find.
Yeah, they are. Strangely
like
so. We do like these. Yep.
Yeah.
Tools are going to be the next thing that we added to our life. The first tool that I had to buy on the road was back last January. I bought a set of tools to disconnect our battery from our car that we left in New Orleans for a month or so. So I bought a set of socket wrenches there for that. Cheapy at Walmart. I also bought screwdrivers this year and then some screwdrivers to work on my computer. So we've added a little bit of tools. This
a lot of screwdrivers.
Will go away when we get on the road, and we owned all this stuff at one time in our lives.
Actually, Mr. Money Mustache headquarters has all of our tools. Speaking of, the people who co-own Mr. Money Mustache has all of our workout gear back in Colorado. So we brought in 2 yoga mats. Mindy over at Bigger Pockets Money has my yoga mat.
So storage supplies, we bought 4 nice tubs. As we go from place to place in our car, you've probably seen these black tubs with the yellow lids that are, 55 gallons or so. We have 4 of those that fit perfectly in our car. So we have those as a big container along with our suitcases and backpacks. And then we have these sub-tubs, is what I like to call them.
We do.
That actually fit in our car.
I don't get to put anything in those.
Organization supplies. And then lastly, in terms of organization, we have these little paper folders. I just bought these recently. As we've been collecting our mail over the course of the last year, I don't really know what to do with this paper. I just can't let go of it. We had a conversation recently with some of our nomadic friends, and they just scan everything. And so that's probably what I'm going to trend toward, but right now I just can't let go of this paper.
There's a line that the minimalists say, something like, if you need to buy stuff to put your stuff in, you have too much stuff. Tim is an organizing like guru, and so I'm not allowed to put anything in those storage things.
My tubs.
Yeah, I don't get to touch those. Now this is kind of okay, I don't know that I can lift this. I'm going to be quick. We have three sets of weights. These are the biggest, the medium, and then there's the baby ones. It was really hard finding weights during COVID. So the heaviest I have is 8 pounds. I haven't lifted those for a little while, but it's good to do my Beachbody online with my hand weights.
I have a problem with glasses, whether it's sunglasses or reading glasses. I lose them, I break them or whatever. And so I actually bought, I think this is maybe 10 pairs of reading glasses that I purchased so that whenever I break the other pairs that I have or leave them at our last location, I have these glasses. Some of these will go with us on the road, so these aren't something that we're ultimately going to get rid of. I think I have a bunch of these back in Colorado in our storage, but anyway, something else we added.
Yeah, the weights aren't coming on the road. One of the hardest things about being a nomad is boredom with my clothing. I came on the road with only 3 pairs of earrings. I lost one of the earrings because my mask was ripped it out. And when we left, I only had 6 shirts. Well, I'm not wearing 6 shirts. I'm not Mark Zuckerberg and I'm not Steve Jobs. I am somebody who wants a lot of variety. That is why we're nomads. We want new all the time. Thankfully, Tim is the constant, but otherwise it is killing me. And so you're going to see some clothing things. These are all little bags of jewelry that I got at a secondhand store. Maybe $2 a pair of earrings or something. I think the earrings I'm wearing are new and just brought in some variety. I'm bored of these two though.
I'm going to say I also like adding clothes. Here's the funny thing. I posted a picture yesterday of myself and Amy, and it was me in a shirt that I wear all the time. Somebody actually made a comment about, there's Tim in that shirt again. And so I think it's kind of funny that Amy, I think, went to go and find me in this shirt all over the world. And so even though I like different things, I tend to wear the same thing. So I don't have exactly the same things. I like buying new clothes. Maybe I don't like wearing new clothes.
I like wearing new clothes. And that's a big problem as a nomad is I am bored of my clothes.
And then my other thing, so as we move on here, before we're off of clothes, this is also some storage. I bought a storage container for media. So we have, obviously, when you create videos, you produce a lot of content. And so you have to have some place to store that if you're going to reuse it. And so we have a lot of media. And so I purchased some drives and flash drives and things like that to keep all of our media on and keep it organized.
Okay, this I bought in New Orleans, is a visor because I am trying not to get any more sun on my forehead. I have already sun damage up there, and I thought that I brought this on the road. Apparently I didn't. I found that I left it in the storage unit when we reunited with it last September, but I got this in like March, April, because we were outside doing 5 miles every single day. I was getting a lot of sun exposure. This helps keep my forehead protected, so hopefully I don't get skin cancer.
There you go. Let's hope not. Neither of us. I've actually had skin cancer. So, and then we also bought office supplies. So this is another, again, organizer for office supplies.
Let's open this up.
So I have pens and I have rubber bands and I have binder clips and things like that, scissors, all the things that you might have in a mobile office are things that we've added back. We obviously own all this stuff back in Colorado. Highlighters.
School supplies.
Very handy. But nonetheless, we have a school supply box or office supply box. Amy calls it school supplies. I'm going to say office supplies.
I love the idea of school supplies my whole life. Okay, now, hold on. This is a lot, and this isn't everything. These are the clothes that I bought. I'm wearing a blouse that I bought. Here's some of the things that I bought, a skirt. Here's a couple of the shirts that I bought. I bought a couple dresses. So clothing. We have found, I'm going to say all or most of these things at really good consignment shops, maybe Goodwill. Very few of these items were purchased new. I can see 2 items that were purchased new, but this just gives me, so when we left, we thought we were only going to be in warm weather, and I had 6 basically identical t-shirts. So I don't want to be Steve Jobs yet. That's all I packed. I had decision fatigue when we were getting ready to get on the road. So I brought in like 6 tank tops, which is in this stack. I brought in skirts and dresses and things that for 90-degree weather that we were in over the summertime. And I brought in some more wintry things that are like these long sleeve blouses that, because we were in all kinds of weather. So lots and lots of clothes, probably, I'm going to guess about 20 pieces of clothes I brought in. Every one of them totally worth it. And I'm dying to go get a few more things.
Yep. So are we at 30?
No, we're not at 30.
Okay. So I also added some clothes to my life. There's 4 shirts. I actually think I have more than this. This is just what I drug out of the closet. I actually like these shirts a lot, but for whatever reason, I tend to wear the same things over and over again. I am going to start wearing these once it gets a little warmer, and I'm thrilled to have them. And they were all very affordable, either from consignment shops or Goodwill.
And you have toyed with the idea of a uniform kind of dressing.
Yeah,
I'm not into that.
I like the idea just for simplicity's sake, and if I found something that I really like, as a matter of fact, I often will wear the same shirt with an undershirt that gets fresh every day. I'll wear the same shirt for multiple days, 3 or 4 days. For the most part, my clothes are clean. Undershirts are always changed. But anywho.
Okay, next up is a rain jacket with a little hood. So I have a very a jacket for cold weather. Sometimes I just need a little rain jacket, and this was really super helpful, and it's machine washable.
Oh, awesome. So I also bought a pair of shoes. So I left on the road with a pair of flip-flops and 1 pair of shoes. That's all I had intended to have for the entire year. I've added these shoes. These are more like running shoes. I bought these when we were in Texas, and I'm still looking to buy maybe another pair of shoes. But
the funny thing is, I made him bring the flip-flops. He didn't even want to bring those. He wanted to have 1 pair of shoes on his feet to travel the world.
They're waterproof. They're great. They're just going to be.
They are great.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought in 2 pairs of shoes too. So I brought in some sandals. I brought in 3 pairs of shoes. I brought in new exercise like sneakers. So new sneakers. I haven't used them yet because when I got them, then I started my surgery. So both of these are from a consignment shop, and they're in very good condition. I wear them all the time. They're probably like $10 each.
We are both huge fans in terms of data about our lives. And so I bought this back last year when we were in New Orleans. This is a temperature and humidity gauge that you can just carry around and have with you at all moments, and it tells you the temperature and humidity. And then you can capture it on your device. And then later in the year, I bought another one that does the same thing. However, this one has a display on it. So this one, you have to have it connected to a device. This, you can see exactly what the temperature and humidity is at any given moment. It also captures it and tracks it. But anyway, just cool gizmos.
You still like your technology.
And these will go with us on the road as well.
Yes. Okay, then we brought some reference books into our lives. So we use the library for a lot of different things. We're definitely not going to get a novel at the bookstore, but we wanted to support some causes and have some reference books. So we brought some of those back into our lives. This is just a selection.
We also strangely bought 2 DVD players over the course of the last year. When we were up at a friend's house in Washington State, we bought a $5 DVD player.
Actually, hers was broken.
Hers was broken.
Hers was broken.
We bought a $5 DVD player on Craigslist, which we subsequently got home, and it didn't work either. We didn't bother to take it back, so that was just
done.
Give it away. I don't know what we did. Recycled, whatever, upcycled.
Actually, we left it in her home in case anyone can be like a tinkerer and fix it.
There you go. So it's still in your home back in Washington, Marla. And then lastly, I bought this, which is a USB DVD drive, and this actually works. And so we had some DVDs that we were toting around all over the country with the intention of watching them. As soon as we showed up at a place with a DVD player, that wasn't coming together for us. And so DVD player we bought.
This player. What generation are we?
Travel with us as well. Our laptops do not support. This is just obviously USB. You just plug it right in your laptop.
Old school. Okay, quick. I needed a new hard drive for my computer, so.
Actually, Amy didn't need a new hard drive. Whenever my hard drive crashed, it just sort of made some sense in my mind to get her device updated and ready for an issue if we might have it in the future. So I upgraded the hard drive, or actually it's an SSD drive, in her machine, and so that it's preventative. That's exactly right, and gave her some extra capacity.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the camera.
Yeah, so the device that we're recording on right now, as well as the monopod that it's sitting on, are also things that we added back to our life. We
didn't have these. These were new to our life.
These are new to our life. We had a camera. We had an SLR, or a mirrorless camera, that we were using, and this just sort of made some sense because it's much more compact. It's easier to travel with. So we're not sure what we're going to do with the mirrorless camera. If this continues to work for us, that might be left behind or given away or sold or whatever. But this looks like it's going to be the device that we'll have for the long term. It's bigger.
This one's teeny. Okay, and here's the last item, and it is a king-size quilt. It's a big one. So the problem is we have been in warm cities. And for some reason, these warm cities, they have a blanket like it is Alaska in January. But not just down, like down for Alaska in January. So finally, this was a really hard one because this was $55 to purchase, number one. Number two, we gave away at least 6 blankets or comforters. Maybe even 12. We had a family of 5. So all kinds of comforters and blankets and quilts, we gave all of those away. And so to buy one at list price was like, that one really killed me. And it was $55. It wasn't like $5. So, we decided that to get better sleep, it was worth it.
Okay, so it's an investment in our potential ability to sleep. Funny thing is, after we purchased this, I think we maybe used it just a handful of nights for a variety of reasons.
Because where we are now has a good blanket.
So this, I'm going to say it was still a good purchase, because anything that helps us sleep better at night is going to be a good purchase. Even if it's just one night, I'd pay $55 to have good sleep for that one night. So hopefully this serves us well in the future. And if not, say lovey.
And if we're too hot, we're not sleeping.
No,
we're not sleeping.
We're not.
Okay, so that is our whole laundry list of items. Hopefully we're almost done because we do see a end in sight here for being in the United States. Next week's video, we have actually planned 5 months. Pretty much every single day of the next 5 months is planned, which is kind of crazy for us now. So number one, next week's video, we're going to share why we went ahead and booked 5 months up front. And number two, where are we going for the next 5 months? So hopefully you'll see us and our stuff on the road, wherever you are, in a few months.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching.
See you next Wednesday.